Hello everyone, bashing into today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for next week, 10 days for today's second video, which will take us to around the 18th of February. We'll be able to extend out beyond that, the extended GFS and ECM ensembles running to around a couple of weeks. Have a look at surface feature at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. That takes us into the beginning of March. We're going to start off though with Storm Caira. So this storm is going to be whipping itself up in the next few hours, and overnight tonight into tomorrow is when things will be at their worst. We're expecting 60, 70 mile an hour gusts widely across the country, 80 mile an hour gusts possible around exposed coastal areas, and the amber warning area has been increased quite dramatically by the UK Met Office this morning. So we'll have a look at the weather warnings page at the UK Met in a moment. Before I do anything else though, I'm going to say thank you very much to someone who gave us a super chat last night at the very end of the live stream. So we did the live stream on the YouTube channel between 7:45 and 9 PM. It ran just after 9 PM. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to that live, then the video is on the channel and also on the homepage at garethworthis.com. You can have a listen back to that whenever you would like to do that. But right at the very end, just as I was wrapping up the stream and I've gone away from YouTube, we had a super chat come in. I don't think this person wanted any questions answered. They just wanted to give us a super chat. But I think I better mention Ripley. So big thank you to Ripley for your super chat at the very end of the live stream last night. Thank you so much, Ripley, for doing that. Sorry, but I missed your super chat. I was wrapping up the live stream last night. So a big thank you, Ripley, for your super chat yesterday evening. I hope everybody enjoyed the live stream. It seemed to go very, very well. Certainly the busiest live stream that we've done. Probably primarily due to the fact that we have got, of course, Storm Caira bearing down on us, and that's where we're going to begin this video. So we're going to start off with fact charts. These are the cumulative interpretations of models by forecasters at the UK Met Office. Excuse me, this fact chart for 6 AM in the morning. And, well, look at that. I mean, it's a job to make out what's happening there. It's so many weather fronts. We've got a warm front across the southeast of England. We've got another warm front through western parts of the country. We've got two cold fronts, not one, but two, out to the west of the country over Ireland, and more convergence lines and lines of occlusions out in the Atlantic. So loads of weather fronts indicating that there will be plenty of rain around. We've got a triple point low, which is just there as well. A triple point is where we have three weather fronts meeting into a single point. And really tight packed isobars as well, especially across England and Wales. So very, very windy, of course, within these warm sectors. That's how things look at midday tomorrow. Storm Caira by then is down to 946 millibars as its central pressure. And again, just bringing lots of weather fronts across the country. So those warm fronts are getting out of the way with pushing these cold fronts across England and Wales. They'll be bringing heavy outbreaks of rain with them. Again, notice how tightly packed the isobars are, and it'll be as these cold fronts move into that warm sector, I think we have the greatest risk of disruptive winds. So I would anticipate, as I say, widely across many parts of the country's 50, 60 mile an hour gusts, 70 mile an hour gusts inland are not to be ruled out, and 80 mile an hour gusts are possible around coastal areas. It stays windy, even as those weather fronts push through. You'll notice the isobars are still quite tightly packed, but not quite as windy, you see what I mean, once those weather fronts come through. And the air starts to go colder then, so as these convergence lines bring showers in off the Atlantic, they will begin to turn a little bit wintry. And then the fact chart for midnight on Monday shows that by then Storm Caira is heading off up in towards Scandinavia. So the worst of the winds will push across the North Sea into like Denmark and southern parts of Scandinavia. Again, it looks like 50, 60 mile an hour gusts are possible for particularly southern parts of Scandinavia and possibly into Germany as well. And we're into just generally quite windy weather there, not severe gales, but generally quite windy, probably up to gale force. and bringing colder air from Greenland and eastern Canada, with wintry showers digging into the north and the west. And then through the early part of next week, those wintry showers could become a little bit more widespread. We'll do snow watch tonight, looking at the risk of snow potential through the early part and middle part of next week. So this is how the latest wind gusts are being forecast by the GFS model, 6 o'clock run of GFS from the weatheroutlook.com. Starting this afternoon, already becoming pretty blowy up in the northwest. Winds really getting up across the northwestern corner, but still relatively light down in the southeast. Into the evening, the winds pick up across parts of northern England, Wales, into the Midlands, to about sort of 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts. So up to gale force around Irish Sea coast as early as this evening. The winds begin to calm down a little bit across Scotland and Northern Ireland, start to pick up in the southeastern corner. Quite windy through the first part of the night, and winds strengthen into the second part of the night, but so that by 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, we're talking about wind gusts widely across England, Wales and Northern Ireland, somewhere between around 14 and 60 miles per hour. Notice well inland as well with these strong gusty winds, and then the winds strengthen further as we go through the morning tomorrow. So the worst of the winds will be through tomorrow. Again, widely across England and Wales in particular, we're talking about gusts of wind being forecast somewhere between sort of 50 and 70 miles an hour. And what's quite unusual with this is that that's well inland as well. So we've got gusts of 73, 71 miles an hour, like in the North Midlands to Lincolnshire, long way inland. Around these Irish Sea and southern coast, again 70 to 80 mile an hour gusts are not to be ruled out. We've got 84 miles an hour there in the Irish Sea between Ireland and Wales too. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, those strongest gusts of wind begin to transfer down towards the southeast. Yes, that's the far southeast corner around Kent and along the south coast, where we're up to like 74, 76 mile an hour gusts, so you can easily round that up to 80 mile an hour. Gales, severe gales through the channel as well, 70 to 80 mile an hour gusts up the channel. Very, very windy day. Even inland, again, we're talking about gusts of wind 60 to 70 miles an hour, so really, really nice. This is strong enough to knock out power supplies, cause disruption to road and rail networks. There will be travel disruption tomorrow from this. Further north, it is pretty windy still. Even across northern Scotland, we're still talking about 50, 60 mile an hour gusts. But the worst is down across more southern parts of the country tomorrow afternoon. And then into the evening tomorrow, those wind gusts begin to reduce. Still very windy, even into Monday. Still talking about 30, 40 mile an hour gusts across many parts of the country into Monday, but not quite as devastatingly so as the wind looks like it's going to be through the course of tomorrow. As for GFS, this is a high resolution arpege, again, at Weather Outlook. So becoming breezy in the northwest right now, winds getting up there. Still relatively light winds down in the south. Overnight, we get the first push of winds this evening, when, again, we're already talking about 60, 70 mile an hour gusts through the Irish Sea into this evening. And then tomorrow morning, the winds really, really strengthening here across the country. This is 10 a.m. tomorrow. Look at that, widely across England and Wales, gusts of wind up to 70 miles an hour. This is a little bit stronger actually with the gust winds. Our pairs is a little bit stronger with the gusts tomorrow compared to the GFS. And 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the strongest gusts are sort of moving down into southeastern corner. 80 mile an hour gusts of wind are not to be ruled out, particularly around exposed coastal locations. The winds then begin to ease down a little bit tomorrow evening. Stays very windy, but the worst winds easing down. Monday is a windy day, but not as severe as it is on Sunday. So this is the weather warnings page from UK Met Office. As I explained in the live stream and I explained in videos, we don't issue severe weather warnings at Gals Weatherbiz. We just tell you what the weather is likely to be doing, but we don't advise you about your safety. So if you need to be advised about staying safe in severe weather, then the UK Met Office weather warnings page is always the place to go to be advised about your safety. So if you're travelling about tomorrow, you're worried and concerned about how you're going to stay safe in these winds, the UK Met are always the people to advise you about that. We do not advise people about their safety at gas levels in severe weather, as we are not qualified to do that. The only people who are qualified to advise you about staying safe in severe weather are the forecasters at the UK Met Office. Now, yesterday we had an amber warning for the far south of the country for these winds. From around Portsmouth to Kent. That has been extended a lot, so we're not going to look at the yellow warnings. There are other yellow warnings. The whole country is under a yellow warning for strong winds, and the whole country really is under a yellow warning for rain as well. We're not going to focus on that though, we're going to focus on the amber warning. So I'll just click that and we shall zoom in. And you can see that now that area where we had the amber warning yesterday was very restricted from Portsmouth to Kent and on the south coast. Now the whole of England and Wales really is under the amber warning, away from the far north and northeast of England anyway. So this is in force from 8 a.m. tomorrow until 9 p.m. I should say, excuse me, tomorrow evening. So many hours actually of really disruptive winds being forecasted. It's not like it's just going to last an hour or two and the thing zooms through within a couple of hours. This is going to last through most of the day tomorrow. So the amber warning, and it is very unusual to get an amber warning as wide as that, by the way. So I can't remember the last time when that happened, but it's certainly been a few years since we've seen an amber warning as wide as that for wind anyway. So they're saying Storm Caira will bring a spell of very strong winds. Disruption to travel is likely. What to expect is flying debris could lead to injuries and danger to life. Some damage to buildings, such as tiles blown from roofs, can be expected. Longer journey times and cancellation as road, rail, air and ferry services will be affected. Some roads and bridges are likely to be closed. Power cuts with potential to affect other services such as mobile phone coverage, and injuries and danger to life from large waves and beach material being thrown onto seafronts, coastal roads and properties. There are various other things that are just here under what should I do, so you can have a look at how you can stay safe in the storm. They give some advice about that, and also about they give you advice about travelling in storms, rain and strong winds as well. This was updated at 9:43 this morning. So obviously they're very worried and concerned about Storm Caira at UK Met, and as I say, it's quite a while since we've seen such a wide area under an amber warning, certainly for wind. I think it probably happened during the beach from the east for snow, perhaps, but it's certainly a long time since we've seen an amber warning as wide as that for winds. So this is looking like a very nasty storm indeed tomorrow, and just stay safe, everybody. And as I say, if you do need advice about staying safe in this storm, then the Met Office is always going to be the place to go for that. And we're going to keep it unsettled beyond, really, into the coming days. Of course, we talked about this in weekend broadcast, but we'll move out into the week to 10-day time frame next. So these are the 500 millibar high anomaly flow charts from Penn State University for the next week to 10 days. We've got the ECMWF on the top, and the GFS, which we'll have a look at in a moment, is on the bottom. So 500 millibars is an area in the atmosphere high pressure, low pressure, are being moved around by the jet stream. Red extrapolates high pressure blue to low pressure. This takes us to around the 18th of February. And the Atlantic driven pattern that we had all winter goes on. The ECM is shown, but in the 7 to 10 day time frame, we have above average heights sitting to our south, below average heights where they've been all the way through winter, out to the west of the northwest, still bringing the jet stream from off the Atlantic. The only change, it is quite a significant change, but the only change is that we are building up above average heights away to the northeast. So that is blocking, starting to appear there to the north of Scandinavia, around Svalbard and into northern parts of Russia. We haven't had that a great deal this winter. That is a bit of northern blocking that's appearing there. However, it's not enough to bring anything cold to us up to this point. It may strengthen, of course, as we go into the days beyond, but up to a 7 to 10 day time frame, we remain in those westerly type winds. Whether that would eventually evolve into a battle between the high pressure to the northeast, blocking things out to north of Scandinavia, and the low pressure around Greenland, Iceland. Whether that would eventually evolve into a battle, we would have to wait and see. But up to that point, we remain Atlantic driven. The GFS is very similar, but it's more unsettled, if that's possible. So look at this area below average heights that the GFS has over to the north of the UK. Again, very strong westerly jet stream coming in across the Atlantic into the UK. The above average heights to our south, perhaps being a little bit flattened though. Jet stream is slightly further south, so this is a rather colder solution potentially. And yes, it is also building up that area of above average heights way to the northeast across northern parts of Russia. At this point, again, not in any position, and certainly not strong enough to break us out of the Atlantic driven pattern and to get wind into the east or the northeast. But we have to keep an eye on it. It's the first time that we've seen that sort of level of blocking across northern parts of Russia on these charts this winter. But certainly into the second half of February, the Atlantic onslaught is going to continue. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles the next couple of weeks. The red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for London. We're at old wetter central today. So starting off close to average at the moment. Temperature is going to lift up with Storm Caira. Have a big warm sector with that, which is partly what's fueling the low pressure and making it become so intense. Beyond that, bit of a cold snap through the early part of next week. Could be some wintry showers associated with that. Snow down to low levels in the north. Then the second half of next week goes milder again, and then into our extended range into the second half of the month. Overall, a little bit up and down, but probably still favouring relatively mild conditions as we move towards the final week of February. Precipitation-wise, this is the rainfall that's associated with Storm Caira. Then a couple of days of drier weather with that cold snap, and of course there could be wintry showers, particularly in the north and west with that. And then the middle and second half of next week goes very unsettled again. More low pressure, bringing heavy rain in from off the Atlantic. Maybe a bit of a drying trend into the extended range with the GFS ensembles, possibly going a little bit drier there by the time we look towards getting into the final week of February. Temperature anomalies from the 8th to 16th of February, very close to average. A little bit below, actually, for Scotland and Northern Ireland, a little bit above for England and Wales. It's not a big deviation either way. Precipitation anomalies significantly wetter than average. It's going to be a very unsettled week coming up, particularly so for northern areas, but all parts are coming out with above average rainfall this week. That's how the GFS is looking for Tuesday, in a cold and showery northwesterly wind on Tuesday, and we could see snow accumulating to low levels across parts of Scotland. More about that in Snow Watch this evening. Wednesday, slightly drier, calmer, quieter today. Then in comes the next low on Thursday. Now, this is coming very close to producing a snow event. Certainly for non-parts of the country, I think there will be some snow overnight Wednesday into Thursday. Down in the south, more likely to be cold rain, maybe a bit of sleet mixed in. But if this low, you see the way the low is, the ice bars, I should say, are sort of elongating there. That shows that as weather front is coming across the country, it's kind of stalling. There's a weather front that's in that position. Let's change the colour actually so you can see it better. Change it to red. So there's a weather front that's coming across the country with this low through Wednesday night into Thursday. And the elongation of the ice bar shows that that front is stalling ahead of it on the northeastern side of the low. It's quite cold. The air is quite cold. The air goes milder on the western side. If that front was to stall any more and an area of low pressure to run along it, then that's the kind of pattern that can bring snow even down to south. As it is at the moment, it looks like it's going to be cold rain for England and Wales and a risk of snow further north. But one to keep an eye on maybe for Wednesday night into Thursday. Beyond that, the next low pushes through into Friday. This has a big warm sector with it. See the difference in the isobars? There's a big warm sector coming in with this one. So any snow with that's just going to be over the Scottish mountains. Otherwise, that's just another bout of heavy rain. Into next weekend, more low pressure comes in from the Atlantic, so the onslaught goes on. Moving up towards day 10, we start to push those areas of low pressure towards the east. Ice bars open out, so we lose the wind It still looks rather showery up to day 10, which is the 18th of February. Going to more extended range, this particular GFS run then starts to generate an area of low pressure to our southeast, with a ridge building out to the west and also to some degree to the north. So that's trying to go colder and more wintry there around the 19th of February before high pressure then begins to take over, and it is trying to get itself towards Scandinavia as well. I think the GFS probably gone off on a bit of a tangent at this point. And we finish up, bring the Atlantic back in, high pressures to our east. Looks like there's a bit of battle going on now. I've got a feeling it probably loses the plot though for around day 10, but if it came off, it would give us a few days of drier, colder weather there around the 20th, 21st of February. GM looking like that again, windy and showery for Tuesday, rather quieter on Wednesday. In comes the next low on Thursday. Again, you notice what this low is doing, so that position of the low at midnight on Thursday, just to our west. It looks like by the time you get through to midnight on Friday, below has almost stalled. In fact, it is stalling, but it's stalling in the North Sea. So it's just the kind of thing that can produce a little bit of snow, perhaps a bit unexpectedly. But we need to wait till much closer to the time frame. It's a complicated pattern. Then we go through to next weekend. Then we're into a long effect southwesterly, so it goes much milder next weekend, but also more wind and rain still coming in off the Atlantic. And we get to day 10. Excuse me, that's how we look, and we're back really where we start in a cool, showery northwesterly wind once again. ECM looks showery and windy for Tuesday, slow down to low levels probably for Scotland, a quieter, colder day on Wednesday, Thursday. Next low pressure is coming in off the Atlantic. That's bringing more rain with it. Again, that's coming through the central part of the country as below clears into the North Sea. Winds turn into the north. I think that will primarily be rain in the south, maybe a risk of some snow further north. Then high pressure builds in, probably quite cold under that ridge through the start of next weekend before those milder southwesterly winds return. That's how we look as we get to day 10. Excuse me, again, my voice is going a little bit afternoon. That's how we get. That's how we look as we get to day 10. The winds are from the west, so still quite mild, but notice heights are rising to the northeast up here. We saw that on the 500 millibar height on the flow chart, but up to this point, up to day 10, we're in a westerly wind still, probably quite cool actually, with high pressure to the south and low pressure away to the north. This is a precipitation type forecast based on that ECM run. So we've got rain piling into the northwest this afternoon. In the evening, could be some hill snow with that for a time. And then the rain pushes further southwards overnight. Turns very wet across central northern Britain. Still mostly dry in the southeast until morning. And then tomorrow, the rain and strongest winds transfer down to the south as the north turns more showery. Air gets colder, those showers begin to turn wintry. Persistent rain gets away, out of way tomorrow evening. And then we're left with wintry showers piling in to the north and west through Monday and Tuesday. A more persistent area of rain, perhaps in the south. Might be some wintriness on the northern edge of that. If it gets far enough north towards Wales and the Midlands. Again, more about that on Snow Watch later. Further north still, snow showers piling in to Scotland. Wintry showers for Northern Ireland and northwest England. Tuesday, wintry showers in the north and the west. Primarily of snow for Scotland, even to low levels. Mainly dry in the south and the southeast. The middle of next week turns a little bit drier and quieter. Then Thursday will bring that next area of low pressure in. Look, that is producing a snow event for Scotland and even down to northern England, possibly for Northern Ireland too. Further south of that, it's just cold rain, but it's not that far away, I don't think, even in the south, from maybe producing a little bit of snow Wednesday night into Thursday. That all gets out of the way, and we're left with wintry showers coming on a northerly wind for the end of next week, and then eventually turn much milder as winds turn into the southwest. More rain piles into the north and the west as we get up towards day 10. Quite a bit of snow there, for example, on the 17th of February. That's how we look at day 10. Wintry in the north, still mostly of rain down in the south. These are the options from a table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which gets us to the 18th of February. 16 from the Icelandic Met Office as well. 16 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure to the north and west, and we're bringing in a mild southwesterly wind. 14 with low pressure to the north, again bringing in a mild west southwesterly. 12 with low pressure to the west and heights rising a little bit over and to the east of the country. That does include the operational and control ECM. And then 7 with low pressure heading in from off the Atlantic. That one looks quite unsettled and not as mild as these two options. Looks like generally still quite unsettled up to day 10 really. In 2 weeks' time, these options that we got, this is 23rd of February, 15 members of the east with low pressure to the north, high pressure over to the south of the country. That's a drier and also quite mild option. 13 with low pressure out to the northwest, bringing in those west-southwesterly winds. 12 with high pressure sitting over to the east, that's a drier, frostier option. 7 with high pressure perhaps over the top of the country. And 4 with high pressure more towards the east-northeast. We'll be bringing in a bit of an easterly wind with those. Again, the trend still appears to be towards higher pressure as we get towards the latter stages of February. Finally, the CFSV2, these are 500 millibar heights broken down to week periods. The first week period takes us from the 8th to the 14th of February. The coming week is unsettled, very unsettled, with low pressure in off the Atlantic, quite stormy actually in the week ahead, and not overly mild either. Week 2 is the 15th to 21st of February. Again, looks very unsettled through this week. Low pressure is unleashed, as is the Atlantic. Week 3 is going to be the 22nd, 28th of February. Quite a change then. Above average heights building over and to the east of the coast. That's going towards much drier conditions. Wind direction with that is absolutely critical. If the wind is coming in from the southeast, east to southeast, then that could be quite cold and frosty. If the wind is sort of more southerly, then that could actually be relatively mild and spring-like. So exact wind direction is critical with that. And then week 4 is the 29th of February. We have an extra day for this month, of course, this year, and through to the 6th of March. And this time we have the high pressure centred over the top of the country. Low pressure's way to the north, up here. So definite trend for late February into March towards high pressure, breaking us out of these very unsettled conditions. Right, so that's how it's looking. All the focus is on Storm Caira at the moment. Beyond that, we're going to have an unsettled week next weekend. Further bouts of rain coming through. Could be wintry at times. That will be wintry at times in the north in the early part of next week. And then as we move towards day 10, on the face of it, it still looks quite unsettled even towards day 10. And any change towards higher pressure is probably a little bit beyond that. So we've got another week to 10 days or so of really unsettled conditions to come. Right, that's it for video number 2. We should be back later on this evening with Snow Watch, because we're already established there is a risk of some snow in places next week. So we'll be talking about that in Snow Watch this evening. Come back for that then. That's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.